You're right, Terry. Ekitike is our main target. Big up, Terry, and hit the like button, people. Thank you, Seb. I appreciate that, mate. This is Sorin again. It says, when Liverpool attacks, it will be Grav dropping back. The fullbacks going forward, McAllister and Sobbo in midfield, so Wirtz can play false nine with Gakpo and Salah. Would you like to see that, Jamie?
Yeah, I have seen some talk of maybe Wirtz going into false nine. I just think when you buy players like the best players in the world in their positions, you play them in the positions. Why would you spend 120, 130 million on a player and then play him out of position? It doesn't make sense to me. Now I'm not Slot, so maybe he's thinking something different, but I just think you're getting in 10, and you should play him as a 10. Do you know what I mean? I think Alice talked about it as well earlier on about Szoboszlai, and I think Slot and Szoboszlai, there was talk in the media and Szoboszlai had said it himself that he needs and should be contributing more going forward. I don't think that's materialised through the season, maybe the way that he's wanted. And I think he was a very good attacking forward or attacking midfielder in the Bundesliga, but he is more of someone off the ball that you want the team. Do you know what I mean? Someone against teams that you're maybe not going to have as much possession like Man City or like in the big games. Someone like that gets around the pitch, covers a lot of ground, and then maybe when you're playing like some of the smaller teams, you're looking someone to break down. Wirtz is going to be there as well, and I think there is a place for both of them in the squad. Like you play 50 odd games across an entire season, so like you need quality in like multiple positions. And I think playing Wirtz in the 10 is probably the best option. I don't think playing him as a false nine, maybe some games, but not as the false nine.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Ty, for gifting 20 memberships out to our audience. That means a great deal to us. Thank you, my friend. Simply Red says, not bothered if we miss out on Gyokeres. The Portuguese league isn't the Premier League, and he couldn't cut it in the Championship. I mean, he scored 19 and 20 goals 2 years running in the Championship. So, I mean, he did do very well in the Championship. Would take Osimhen or Ekitike over him. Do you agree with that, Alice?
I disagree with that. Like, look, Man United's best signing post Fergie came from the Portuguese league in Bruno Fernandes. You know, it's always a risk with leagues. You know, Eredivisie, Portuguese league, they don't always hit the ground running. Nunes has been hit and miss. Gonçalo Ramos, you know, he was one from Benfica, of course. But I think when you're scoring 100 goals in 2 seasons, and if you look at the goals he's scoring, I don't even think he gets a crazy amount of service. I think sometimes he does a lot of it himself. Like, of course, there's definitely parts of his game that have limitations. It will be harder in the Premier League. He struggled when Sporting played Arsenal against Gabriel and Saliba. But for me, I would go with Gyokeres over Ekitike. I think Osimhen is better, but I would go for him over Ekitike. I know Arsenal going for Sesko, but I would also go for him over Sesko if you're Arsenal, because I just think this is somebody. If Mourinho is getting 12 goals or something as striker, just chuck Gyokeres in and adapt the system a little bit to him. I honestly think he's that kind of guy that could take you from second to first. I think, you know, he won't get those numbers in the Premier League, but people used to say, oh, Haaland in the Bundesliga, he won't do it in the Premier League, and look what he done. So look, I think it'll be good, Gyokeres.
So I look at it this way. I don't know about you, Jamie. 97 goals in 102 games for Sporting. Yes, there may be a reduction coming into the EPL, but that's not good numbers. That is astronomical numbers.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. I think with that as well, like coming from the Portuguese league, but he's obviously played in the Championship as well. So like, I know it's not like for like, but he does understand like what it's like maybe to live in England and stuff like that. So like, I think that maybe takes a little bit. See you later, Alice. That maybe takes a little bit more pressure off him. But yeah, I think the numbers speak for himself. I think even in that left wing position, he floats out a little bit more to the left hand side. And I think if you're looking at, say, Martinelli, who maybe hasn't performed to the levels that he wants, I think Trossard and Martinelli, they kind of just vibe between the two of them. But I think Gyokeres could maybe go out there as well. And like when he's playing and as the striker, he goes out, collects the ball, and he'll make runs in behind, which I think sometimes Arsenal struggle with. But I think, as Alice said, he could be the difference maker between second to first, which is what Arsenal need right now.
I totally agree. I mean, on Arsenal, I mean, there's a report from Sacha Tavernieri who, look, I mean, some people, the thing with journalists, I'm always someone that I take what they say seriously, but I'm always open to them not being right, or not so much them not being right, but the situation changing. I mean, he called the Wirtz deal before everybody else was called a fraud. He's also stated that Spurs will part ways with Ange. We'll see if that transitions. He's also said that Arsenal have agreed personal terms with Victor Gyokeres. But we also know that they are negotiating with Leipzig for Šeško, a player that a year ago agreed to their plan, but he just essentially deferred it for a year because he wanted one more year of kind of development in Germany before moving to what he believes to be a difficult league. What do you personally think the best option is for Arsenal? Because let's just take both reports as read. It appears Arsenal have done work on both players, which is kind of normal for that to happen. What do you think is the best option for Arsenal going into the new season?
I'd probably go back to your point as well. I think with Gyokeres, like 97 goals in 103 games, I think I'd probably lean a little bit more toward him, and the fact that he's played in the Championship as well. So I think there's a lot more about him maybe than maybe a Sesko. I think Arsenal will have looked at it and said they have done their work on both of those players, but I just think Gyokeres, I think maybe has a little bit more about him. And that's not like saying anything about Sesko. I just think Gyokeres maybe has a little bit more of an edge, that could maybe help them. And I think that's probably the route that I would go down.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I like Šeško. I think he's a very, very good player. I just think Gyokeres he's just a goal machine.
Yeah.
And yep, some are penalties, but some are free kicks, some are tap-ins, some are screamers, some he creates himself, some he's scoring from the most ridiculous angles, some he's scoring that shouldn't really be goals because there's 4 players in front of him, but he finds a yard and he buries it in the bottom corner. And I just think players like that are game changers. It's one of the things I love about Haaland watching him, and I was so gutted he went to City. He's just a player that scores goals from nothing. And he hasn't had the greatest of years this year.
Yeah,
he still scored 21 goals, and I think Gyokeres is that kind of player. He may not even be in the top 5, 6, 7 players in your team in a season, but he could bang in 20 league goals, and Arsenal need that. And I think that these players, he's not someone that's going to come in and take goals from other people. You get that a lot when people are being salty. He's just going to take the goals that Kai Havertz would have scored. No, he isn't. I think he's going to score you additional goals. He's going to, and you guys had that, when you brought in Mane and Salah, they didn't take goals away from people. Your team started scoring more goals across all competitions. And I think Gyokeres is that guy. With Šeško, look, I think he plays well. I get why they think he fits the system. I don't think he's a bad signing. I am just looking at the fact that he's almost double the price. Double the price, younger, still needs development, doesn't score as many goals. If I'm having a debate and I've got to pick between the two, I can't go with Šeško personally. Just can't do it.
Yeah, I think as well, like with Arsenal and where they're at the minute, I think obviously Saka was out for a large portion of this season. I think him coming back is going to add a lot more to them going forward. But I think with Gyokeres, what we noticed a little bit with Arsenal when Saka did come back and when he does play is they kind of like double mark him. A lot of defenders, they go to them because they know Havertz and Martinelli aren't going to contribute in the same way. I think bringing Gyokeres in then kind of alleviates some of that. So they'll maybe look towards maybe making sure he's like marked down as well. So then it adds more. So similar to what you're saying about like Mane, Salah, Firmino, you can't mark all 2 players with 3 players. Do you know what I mean? So you have to obviously spread it out a little bit more. I think that's where Arsenal are probably at. And I think Gyokeres, I think Sesko is a little bit more. He's not Havertz, but like he's a little bit more that kind of ball to feet. Isn't maybe going to contribute as many goals, but it maybe links a little bit more to the team. But if they already have that with that type of player, then I think Gyokeres maybe takes a little bit of a different dimension and adds a lot more to them. So I think Gyokeres is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, I agree.